I too would like to wish everyone a blessed and happy Labor Day. In the true spirit of tripartism, we learn to concede some time to our sister and our government represented by the team. So I would not be long because this is more commemoration. And my sister Claire, for some reason, felt that she had to send this direct message to government. And in the true spirit of tripartism, I had to go along with her and say, I will make my speech short. Because I know we are here to also enjoy our breakfast. And some of us do need breakfast. So I will start my short speech on the commemoration of Labor Day with a question. What is on your list for today? You may find it somewhat odd, but with the needed explanation and concerns, you will very quickly realize that we are facing very serious problems on our beautiful island nation of St. Martin. While we support those who support public service, we find issues with integrity and transparency, which makes it all the more difficult to cope with the inequality and new labor policies that are supposedly being implemented for regulation of conducting business on the island. Government must understand that there is a growing concern in the private sector that is becoming more and more difficult to cope with the economic stalemate situation and the lack of understanding by the elected persons in authority. We are happy with the creation of the tripartite committee and felt that this was a step in the right direction. But somehow, this has become a challenge for the employers and workers' representative alike. To quote the chairperson of the employers' representative, Mr. Jim Rosen, and he's here present. Happy Labor Day, Jim. St. Martin's situation is quite fascinating. In general, developing countries, they lack enforcement and oversight capacity. Within the kingdom, there are 2 developed countries, maybe 3, and St. Martin, which is a slow cousin and less developed. The reason for that is Aruba has enjoyed a longer separate status and has their own systems. And Curacao being the center of the federal government and had a wide capacity of personnel, today on St. Martin, we are still facing the challenges of a new country status with acute shortage of personnel, particularly in key positions to provide the required services and in enforcement. Simply enforcing the existing regulations proved to be problematic, and with the creation of new regulations, one can only expect more complication. St. Martin is not a first world country, nor a third world country, but finds herself as transitioning in between So it will present a unique challenge since we lack the capacity to make a proper assessment. Our concern arises from issues such as the implementation of the counterpart legislation, which leaves much to be desired, and has been met with stern opposition from within the Social Economic Council and the Tripartite Committee, while they already agreed upon issues from all three sectors, such as raising the minimum wage for 18 to 20 years, and the needed updating of the dismissal advisory, have languished very, very much. A helpful definition for the success might be that which manifests our highest good and the good of those around us. Therefore, people who are living with honesty, decency, and honor are a success. They maintain a solid base of integrity. And now to end my speech, I can't get to the last part. Unfortunately, in our country, our people usually define success in terms of financial gains. I was called a millionaire, not true. We are successful when we are true to ourselves and our purpose. I believe we are successful when we reach out to our fellow men and women and give much of ourselves. I live with integrity, and my reward is success. That being said, there are things on our list today to make St. Martin into a better place to live and enjoy the fruits of our labor this Labor Day 2015. Blessed Labor Day to all.
The error of youth is to believe that intelligence is a substitute for experience, while the error of age is to believe experience is a substitute for intelligence. It's with great pleasure that I stand here before you today, in my capacity as President of St. Martin Youth Parliament, to address you on the subject, the importance of linking education and training to employment. Too many students leave school without occupational and academic skills to succeed in the workplace. They therefore struggle to fit in the workplace, and many employers are reluctant to take a chance on inexperienced workers as they are unwilling to make the training investment. The transition from work to school has never been an easy road, but it should be. The purpose of education is to equip persons to function in human society. It is intended to provide the practical and social skills necessary to be a productive member in the society. Therefore, the links between what is taught in school and what happens in the real world need to be improved to ensure that our graduates enter the job market well-equipped to excel. How do we accomplish this goal? Well, first of all, secondary education should be more comprehensive by providing a wide range of education and training options, rather than the pigeonholing students into strictly business or sciences, academic or vocational. There needs to be a greater exposure to practical workplace skills, particularly in higher academic levels. Businesses should play a greater role in representing the practical curriculum by providing meaningful internships to high school students where they could do more and take care more than the company's filing backlog. We need a strong communication between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Labor. Every year when students are applying for scholarship, They have to choose from the priority list. But what I don't see is a list of jobs available for the returning students. In my opinion, that's one of the reasons we suffer from brain drain. The issue of career planning should also include entrepreneurial skills to help young people identify niche markets where they can use their passions and skills. Youth need to be taught not just to get a job, but just to create jobs as well. We often hear the term overqualified. I believe that students are not overqualified, but bosses are afraid that if they hire a person with higher qualifications than them, later that same person will take their position. The value of an honest day work for honest day wage needs to be taught to our young people and practiced by employers. Young people have observed the abuses in the labor market and thus enter the workplace with their defenses in place so they do not fall victim. Unfortunately, this attitude often comes across as being aggressive and confrontational, thus creating a negative image that the youth are unwilling to work. We are striving for sustainable development. Sustainability's three basic elements are economy, ecology, and equity. Today we are focusing on equity, which is basically balancing the playing field by achieving total welfare by guaranteeing equal access to jobs, education, natural resources, and services for all people. In closing, we can do this by the following. Substantial emphasis should be placed on helping people that are unemployed to identify their pathways. We have to make sure that the employment services that exist meet the needs of the unemployed people. We need to remove the barrier that hinders the smooth transition from school to work. And we have to make sure that the employers are on board and know their role is crucial in education and training. I'm a person who loves to interact with young people to get their views on issues affecting the country. While talking to a few of them, I kept on hearing the same thing. This is my summary of what they said. When I go away, I'm not coming back here because everyone keeps saying that the youth are the future, but when it's our time, there are no jobs for us. There are no programs put into place to help elevate us. There is nothing out there to motivate us. Well, being a young professional, I replied to them using a quote from the late Dr. Miles Monroe. And it states, people generally fall into three groups: the few who make things happen, the many who watch things happen, and the overwhelming majority who has no notion of what happens. Every person is either a creator of fact or a creature of circumstance. He either puts color into his environment or, like a chameleon, takes color from his environment. Who will you choose to be? Because I, Dwayne Griffith, choose to make things happen. I choose to be a creator of fact, and I choose to put color into my environment as I work for a better St. Martin. Thank you.
I am still a little in awe from the young man who just spoke, I'm going to call you Mr. Dwayne Griffith, because first of all, I would like your permission in order for us to publish your speech. I think it's well written, it was well delivered, and I believe we alone should not be privy to it. However, the community should always also hear your words. So we will speak a little after this. A happy Labor's Day to everyone. I am very fortunate, and I would like to say first, let us give thanks for what we've been blessed with thus far in the year 2015, each and every one of us as laborers. I am fortunate, as the young man said, he would like to see more communication between the two ministries, and I'm so fortunate to have had the opportunity and still have the opportunity to work with both ministries. It's been, I will look at my SG. For some reason, the interim in front of the ministry, the second ministry does not fit well anymore. I think interim should be for a shorter period. So I'm going to hold it as my ministry for now until a new minister comes in. And I have seen thus far how important the collaboration between the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Public Health, Social Development and Labor, how important that collaboration is. When we traveled to the Bahamas to the Labor Conference, many ministers had that portfolio. Their portfolio was education and labor. And then there were separate portfolios for culture, youth and sports. And now I see how important, I always ask myself, I wonder why many of them were like that, and we have a whole different setup. But I have realized in over the last 5 months, I believe we're in now, Prime Minister, how important it is to merge those two, education and labor, together. So, as we look on for 2015, I believe that unlike some countries, St. Martin has experienced few layoffs. It is evident in the results of our last labor survey. Nevertheless, we are still tackling the problems associated with the labor market entry of our young people. This big concern is a concern of both ministries, and we will continue to look into this matter. Human resources are our nation's most valuable asset. As a result, there is a need to help employers and employees preserve our human capital. We have remained and we continue to remain committed to ensuring that all of St. Martin businesses are safe places to work, and that prevention reduces the need. We see that prevention produces a need for cure and saves money on pain. We would like to see every worker in St. Martin have a safe working conditions, free from recognized hazards. For every one fatal accident, there are countless near misses. I believe that, Mrs. Elshad, if you look at my speech, I have scraps and scripts because the teacher and her, the teacher and me, we were more or less saying the same thing. St. Martin, like the rest of the world, is facing an occurrence of what is known as informal economy. This sector of the community continues to string the capabilities of government as the potentials for taxes are crippled. This sector has no health insurance, and so government ultimately pays, leaving our social system to bear the burden. There is also a lack of protection for those who work in that sector. These things continue towards the stifling of St. Martin's social well-being. It is extremely important for us to have continuous collaboration with our social partners in the tripartite committee. This is necessary to bring about changes that we seek in our world of labor today. And we encourage them to continue fostering and supporting those principles of social dialogue as we move forward towards more success. I consider and recognize the union leaders absolutely necessary, not forgetting the silent supporters who also play important roles in their support for the workers on St. Martin. Their role in our community is huge and positive. Through their active leadership, they protect the integrity of employment, improving safety standards, achieving higher pay and benefits such as healthcare and retirement, and better working conditions. The result of their active leadership fosters the well-being of all our laborers. I too, Mrs. Elshot, have been at your union meetings during school hours in the past, and we call them then also. However, I continue to hereby make a call to all union leaders to collaborate and improve the level of representation for all of our laborers. For the 3 honorees that are being honored today, I say big congratulations to you. I have not worked closely with 2 of the persons, the late Patricia and Mr. Rennie Richardson. However, I've had all of the joy and appreciation to work with Mrs. Sandra Matthew White. In my former function as school manager of Marie Genevieve de River School, Mrs. Sandra Matthew White was first my colleague when I was a teacher, and then became my assistant school manager. Now we call them adjunct school managers. We spent 2 years together, I must say. 2 enjoyable, well-working, professional relationship years, and I thank you for the support that you offered me then as school manager. As we celebrate today, let us continue to perform as laborers. Let us continue to look at our responsibilities and deal with our responsibilities to the best of our abilities. And as we as employees, let us continue to value and appreciate all our employees. I would like to say on behalf of my 2 ministries, thank you for those persons who work within those ministries. The dedication that I have of persons, I look around the room, I can see the faces. The dedication that I have within my ministry in terms of everyone who falls under education and on the labor cannot be measured by no other ministry. Sorry, Minister Connor and Prime Minister, but within my ministries, I have the hardest working persons. And I believe with their dedication that we will continue to improve labor on St. Martin. On behalf of the Ministry of Labor, I would like to wish you a happy Labor Day 2015, and let us continue to work towards the improvement of labor on St. Martin. I have all respect and all admiration for every level of person out there in the workforce. I am a product of a mother who worked as a sales lady in a store for more than 20 years. And I am now on a level of authority. And I do agree with Mr. Boseman said that no matter what level you're on, you're still receiving a paycheck. So you too are a laborer. And I know that I can vouch for the Prime Minister, Minister Khan, who's present, and myself, that we don't work Monday to Friday. We work Monday to Monday, because Saturdays and Sundays, those are our working days also. So once again, let me say a big congratulations to each and every one of you present, a big congratulations to the community of St. Martin and all our laborers. Though we may today, let's say, celebrate it in different ways, I congratulate each and every one and wish you a successful remaining 2015 on to 2016 as we continue to celebrate Labor Day. Thank you.
Sandra Matthew White was born on the beautiful island of Aruba, and she relocated to St. Martin in 1979. She was hired by the Windward Islands Federation of Labor as an administrative secretary in 1980, 1 year after arriving on the island. In her capacity as administrative secretary, she was also WIFO's all-rounder, who covered all aspects in connection with the successful operation of the WIFO. He's recognized, or he's known as the results-driven go-to man. Adrian Richardson was born on October 2nd, 1943. He's a son of Suwaniwa. I need to say this part. With ancestors on both the north and south sides of the country. His dynamic political and leadership career spans 4 decades, starting in 1975 as ALM, the Antillian Labor Movement, and he was the second candidate at the time.
Thanks to the Windward Islands Chamber of Labor Unions and all those persons involved who have seen it fit to recognize me and to present me for this award. This award is not about my person, it is about people like Sandra, myself, and all the others who work, the board members, the shop stewards, and all the members of the union at that time who worked tirelessly to achieve social justice for the working class of St. Martin. That was our goal. As Sandra says, very rightfully so, we have established an identity on St. Martin. No one can take that away. When you drive there and the Pondfield, you see the Windward Island Federation of Labor at that time, union building there. And as I can remember when I approached Mr. Wati at that time, who was the leader of government in 1977, 78. I said to him, we need a piece of land to build a union building. And he said, Winnie, I can't give it to you for nothing. You must pay for that land. And he says, well, you know the price what we pay for that land today? He said, you must pay for it. I said, I know it's a valuable piece of land, but he said, we'll only charge you $1 per year for that piece of land. I don't know if Mr. Thompson, the leader of the union today, still pay that $1, but it has to be paid for the lease of that land and the building on the Pondfield Road. We have to pay $1 per year. That has been the great contribution of government towards the labor movement. So government must be recognized. Government must be recognized today that government has also not only, as I said, the shop stewards, the board members, and all those workers of St. Martin, government has also contributed tremendously in achieving our goal. I would like to call upon the Windward Islands Chamber of Labor Unions to really continue the struggle for social justice for the working class of St. Martin. Up to today, I'm approached by a lot of members of the unions who say, you know, things are not going good. Of course, they complain. The same time when I was in the union, they used to complain if they see me sitting with a boss, drinking a cup of coffee right in this hotel, Mr. Collard. They say, oh, Jesus, he buying him out. So for a cup of coffee, you see people that you represent all the time, it's not an easy task, because if they see Thompson sitting with somebody, oh Jesus, he's being bought out. I was, you know, get blame all the time, and so Mr. Boseman at that time, Mr. Rafi Boseman father, he was all bought out for a cup of coffee and for maybe a sandwich or whatever. So our own people put this pressure on us, and I would also like to, before I end here, say congratulations to the family of Mrs. Patricia Ponteflet, who has also been a great pioneer and a great struggler for the working class of St. Martin. It's really a pleasure to be here, and as I said before, I would really like to thank everyone who has involved themselves and to propose me for this award. It's not about my person, it's about the people of St. Martin and the working class of St. Martin. Let's continue the struggle, because it's not an easy one, Mr. Thompson. It's not an easy one, my cousin Claire. It's not an easy task. You have to constantly be fighting, because nobody, employer doesn't want to give up what they got in their pocket. Profit making is not easy, and I'm not saying this to antagonize my friend, Mr. Hubert Ponteflet. He knows it too, because he come from down there too. And I said, you know, I respect him a lot. He has achieved a lot. He's a very successful business person. And I think Mr. Rafi really sharp changed him a while ago by calling him a millionaire. You should call him a multi-millionaire. So once again, happy Labor Day to all, and congrats to the Ponteflet family on behalf of their struggler, Mrs. Patricia Ponteflet, my great friend.
Our third and final honoree for today is Mrs. Patricia Ponteflet, an exemplary life of service. One could always count on Patsy to condemn in the strongest terms the unfair treatment of workers. Patsy is not with us, but today accepting in her honor are her family members.